Hello again and welcome back to another one. And today we'll be dedicating an entire video to the shield-wielding huge Eminem fans on the internet, and this is coming off the video I did a few days ago when we talked about the ultimate preamble to include whenever you want people to take you seriously when criticizing Eminem. And it makes sense because he's been out for over 20 years now, but even the ultimate preamble loses some value when it gets overused. In fact, the Slim Shady LP just turned 22 a few hours ago, but that hasn't stopped 15-year-olds from using the ultimate "I was a huge Eminem fan back in the day" to validate their criticism of the artist. And we'll be exploring some takes on the internet from level 1 crook to level 35 boss wielding the phrase of approval, the huge Eminem fan badge. And as we dive in, if you enjoy content like this, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and find me on social media at etlifestyle_web. So this came to mind after Till I Collapse was the news of the day, as several outlets reported the milestone that Eminem's the first to have a non-single top 1 billion streams. And I covered it on this channel as expected, but along came the hugest Eminem fan in the comments to claim that nobody cares and it's boring. To which a user reacted in the comments section, in quotes, "I am/was a huge Eminem fan, but is the new strategy to hate on him. I noticed that a long time ago." And shortly after that video dropped, a user sent this to me via IG, a comment under a post about Mariah's Obsessed that stated, "Hot take, this is a top 5 diss song of all, maybe all time, whatever." And the huge Eminem fan flew in, cape flapping and all, with this, "I'm a huge Eminem fan, and even I'll admit that Mariah won this one. Why is it so hard for the rest of y'all?" Y'all thought I was kidding when I said this is the ultimate preamble, but here we are. Now that could be Nick Cannon's burner account, but I also found its double on Twitter after Nick dropped the invitation. "I'm a huge Eminem fan, but bigger fan of rap and hip-hop. Nick Cannon killed it. This gonna make Eminem step up his game. Nick's track was better than MGK's, and his track was fire too. There's levels to it. There's the regular fan, there's the big fan, and then the huge fan. And with that in mind, there's an expectation that comes with the word huge before fan. But here's an exchange in reaction to the news of When Forever by Drake, Kanye, Wayne, and Eminem surpassed 300 million streams on Spotify. Now, general consensus is that Eminem bodied that song based on my observation, but the user states, "Eminem had the worst verse, changed my mind." Now, there's nothing wrong with having a different opinion, but the user had one trick up their sleeve that those that disagreed never saw coming. The user elaborates, "I'm a huge Eminem fan, but I skip his verse every time. Everyone else come with the sauce, and he just comes in yelling all fast and ish, has some decent bars, just doesn't fit the song in my opinion." Now, before you formulate your thoughts about this, remember this is no regular, no big, but a huge Eminem fan that skips his entire verse. Even Eminem's biggest haters would agree that this is going overboard, but hey, huge fan. Before we get to one of the best I found so far, here's another exchange where the huge Eminem fan is used as an auto-validate shield. Now, 8 Mile opened to great reviews from fans and critics. Some even said it was one of the best films of 2002, and a user dropped this, "Damn, just watch 8 Mile, it's actually freaking good," which got this response, "I'm a huge Eminem fan, but that movie sucks, lol." Now give me a second, I need to revisit the dictionary for this one. Sucks means be very bad or unpleasant, and this is used to describe 8 Mile from a huge Eminem fan, and the user expanded, "It has no plot, and a lot of scenes come off very awkward. Eminem's acting most of the time isn't good," to which a user reacted, "It has no plot? We obviously didn't watch the same movie." But we all know the revival era brought out the best of the huge Eminem fans, and when it dropped, a user stated, "I would rather listen to Gucci Gang on repeat for the runtime of Eminem's new album than actually listen to Eminem's new album." And the user added, "I'm a huge Eminem fan, but honestly, just looking at the features, I'm a pass." Now, of course, there's some genuine fans that use the preamble from time to time, but it's so obvious to see that more often than not, huge is certainly the wrong word to use based on some of the takes. Fan on its own may be a stretch in some of these cases, as I don't believe a regular fan will skip an entire Eminem album after a look at the tracklist, but what we see is casual listeners claiming to be huge fans for validation. On Revival, here's what another huge fan believes. I'm a huge fan of Eminem, but there were no good songs on Revival. I don't know how Dr. Dre could let this happen, to be honest. Huge fan indeed, but no single good song on the entire album. Something certainly not adding up here. Another classic from a huge fan. And well, I'm a huge Eminem fan, but he's such an awful producer. Like, he's good with the sound, but not the beats itself.
Some of them don't even realize how many songs that you have produced, you know what I mean? And that they know and love the song, they just didn't know that you produced it.
But huge fans also echo the narratives of the biggest, most irrational Eminem haters too, with takes like this. I'm an Eminem fan, a huge one, but he hasn't made a good album in like a decade. Doesn't mean he's not the GOAT because of what he accomplished in his prime. Same concept applies to Ye. This was a huge fan bringing Eminem into a discussion that had nothing to do with him since it was about Kanye, but Eminem for some reason was brought into the conversation by a huge fan that we are to take seriously. Recovery, bad. MMLP2, bad. Revival, bad. Kamikaze, bad. Music to be Murdered by Side A, bad. Side B, bad, but huge fan. And to the posers out there, the point of all this is to tell you that it's okay to dislike Eminem and keep it moving. Even regular fans are catching on to the huge fan shield of validation that's overused at this point. Comment below and see you on the next one.